Good evening, everybody. When you say we are doing say a bono no manana na him mama from Asia. Tanya na ochibi no this week he made over call Micah Namona and somewhere coach you cover mine. Medina na bro. As usual, and somebody dear baby break can't make a couple na me you want your salts no na media bro. So make sure you don't move your dial. If you just tune in, this is Wuzup Radio, #1 radio station in London. Jumedia was sukuswa would see a friend of awareness na Midian and Anahema. Now this week a name panelist by Coke. As usual, a yes Samia mama. They'll call it down hard and on our better in Canada. Obaya baby, I will be a Michiao. Mr. Nunu, my #1 British gunman, I salute you, sir. My #1 accountant, Michiao Pai. And I dear Menesame and Juan Bay Jumano, I am a boss, I could bonsu. Sir, baby, I want to namono, me, Besame body every day. So, me no casa earlier on. Name mouse salute my catcher said, baby, I want to hold on Besame back. Oh, sad. It was that this week, I say for one time in Ghana, just baby, I'm a boss, one honor. As usual, I do call my Ghana Muna this week, obviously, and Sembe and Akoso Ghana. And somebody did be break again. As usual, number the bay Jumani 0208-144-8773 0208-144-8773. Inti mamente wonka. Ye did you median shaswa obey to me a friend? I watch wajune. Aye, namusine bestmark. I'll walk say. I enjoy FM no energy median or non so any better than Canada. Now, this week, then, of course, Mammy found my brief intro. Or 6 ways account loot Ghanaian media painted me black. Eba Hammer and a Casasimi. Set for Bekaya and Chayakra, and it is a Enkophobia from the Volta region, Omati almost from Motogoland. Our leader, no, unfortunately, this week, and yesterday, so I was the leader of Volta separatist group, Papa V, died. Pregnant women, foreign nationals, many others rescued from nut camps. Someone when him LGBT bills are or say anti-LGBT bills. This bill is our vaccine and face mask to stop the spread of gayism. Defend makers anti-LGBT bill. And why are MPs bothered about being denied visas? Lydia forcing and a disaster me too. As the embassies denied of visa over anti-LGBT bill amount to imperialism. I have appealed against my visa denial. It's gross disrespect. Obitini Chrome was a my visa was there gross disrespect. Now you chemo causing monkeys stranded at Taffy Atomic. Heavy rain destroy their habitat. Vasquez exploration firm CEO Ghana Chambers of Mines. Suleiman and Mustafa and Justice Agbe Norris. I say obtain Ghana card of fixed salaries a year controller general Nomlisa and send me when and send me brain so now Chimo Ghana in see Jumedian Shasi pet now so what the contribution now there. It's where dear Mincha Krame Masamiama. ahyia na yɛde akora no ahyehyɛ so. Sammy, good evening.
Good evening. Good evening.
Yɛm sɛ mente wo nka papa.
Good evening.
Still a mente wo nka.
Sorry, microphone.
Yɛm sɛ wode tu ne nyinaa bɛbɔ mu. Fatu ne nyinaa bɔ mu ma me. Fatu ne nyinaa bɔ mu ma me. Kind of. Still a menhyɛ da nte wo nka yɛ. Okay. Yɛnhwɛ sɛ producer Ambajo check ma me sɛ ɔte sɛ menka ɛwɔ side hɔ no ma. No, so how's your week been?
My week has been okay. It's been very okay. Yeah, as usual. Busy with work, family, all of that. Yeah, but apart from that, things we're sailing through.
Any choice we are
sailing through. Yeah.
Now whether is this year, not yes, meaning second and one sem na I can't dear, but I think say you UK and franchise here a year COVID. What is the new development about says this year and some of the countries who crowd what vaccine and now too over holidays anyone say quarantine the yan say over testing negative no I would do a test and I just say one as our story I would say what was your reaction especially you and mom
well it is a welcome news. I mean, obviously, for people that will be traveling, doing a lot of travel, and those people that are traveling, it will be a welcome news, especially now that we in coming to the Easter holidays. Sorry, the half term, I should say, where some families will want to, go abroad and spend some time with the family. So it is a welcome news. Until perhaps further notice. It's still good news in the scheme of things. But apart from the fact that it's good news for families, and I think the businesses will also appreciate the importance of having this sort of rules which are being relaxed in a way. And being relaxed, what it means, they say, more people will be traveling abroad. More people will be using the airlines and, of course, the hospitality industry. They will tend to obviously gain back what they've lost over the years because of the COVID. So on both fronts, I'm sure it's the right thing to do. We can't live in this sort of locking down for that long period. I mean, when I say locking down, I'm talking about the rules being, how stringent it has been over the years. But in reference to Ghana, so when I heard the news, and I was checking on the list of countries, and Ghana and some few other African countries, only few of them that were actually in the list that is being allowed for the relaxation of those rules nowhere because not every African country will require whether you double jabbed or double vaccinated now that rules applies to you. So I think in the African countries, if I remember right, Morocco was in, Ghana was in, Nigeria was in, South Africa was in. I can't think of the other countries, but it's only a few African countries that actually got that privilege. But in context of that, it gives you some kind of hope, say the respect that maybe the country is needed because maybe we're doing things right in the context of things, is being acknowledged by the United Kingdom as an example. So it is. The African now double jab is recognized. You don't need to quarantine. But my understanding is you still have to show your certification for being double jab, and it has to be official recognition of an official body from Ghana. I think that will probably be the health service. I don't know who gives the certification for that, but and when it happens like that, it means say because sometimes the problem that we're having with the West is the trust in our system. It's not like a drone Ghana know that they don't trust about the medicine because the same Pfizer and AstraZeneca and Ghana no, but it's the administration of it, and sometimes there was a problem because if it is easy for anyone to go and claim say when your certification say or a double job when the person hasn't, you can imagine the frustration and therefore closing down those loopholes, if not done, it might be a problem of the recognition that we deserve, which we've been given now, to be part of those, in a way, I'll say, privileged few, coming from Africa. So it's a welcome news. I think it is a welcome news.
Is it not interesting that when these way back up on a lot of especially more sentiments we break because beginning on not these vaccines were dominated by UK, US, and not as a vaccine in free Africa, not as a ENTS, papa. In the CCR, no, at least a wow, be survive. Pfizer and AstraZeneca. And no the obey but beginning I think a lot of Ghanaians were a bit apprehensive.
And not only Ghanaians, I mean even in the West people were apprehensive. I think if you look at the ratio, we are much more apprehensive in Ghana because obviously the education and the knowledge, that at the initial stage it's a trust issue. People are usually very skeptical about things when they haven't got enough information and knowledge about things. Now they tend to not to trust it. So when you have this false information and false news sifting through the system, especially to Ghana, and some of the understanding, some of the myths around that it leads to impotency and all of that. So the fear was there in the beginning, but now people have accepted. Say, I think time has passed through it. No one has died, as a result of. I mean, when I'm talking, no one has died in terms of the massive scale of things, leading to those sort of complications. Now, it hasn't happened. So now the confidence level is much more higher, and it's understandable. Say, we take things culturally, we totally different than the West. When it comes to trust, we take a lot of time for us to build those trust, and it's partly because of historical things that has happened. Over the years. And sometimes those things fit into people's mind and the way they think, their thought processes and how they behave as well. But now, luckily, people are now accepting it. I'm very happy, say, way from the beginning. My mom, when I told her, obviously she was very skeptical. She wasn't, she didn't want to do it. I encouraged her, she went on and she did it. She done the second one as well. And of course she has been double judged. She has been double judged.
And I know at the moment a lot of Ghanaians are particularly not more Chrome has say to be specific, on holidays. People were a bit kind of worried because not because they don't want to go for holidays, but more especially in Kofua they don't own their own businesses. Like when they come back and because you need to quarantine for
10 days.
10 days and sana why into to crime to say Ghana. Usually a lot of people travel for a maximum and averagely, about 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Sana wapa. And at the end, that will go kind of it
will affect your pockets in a way. Yeah.
Do you think that this news, more Ghanaians back to Ghana because it's good for the economy?
Certainly. I mean, when the announcement came from the government, even in the UK citizens of the United Kingdom, and I remember I was listening to the news in that morning of the announcement the following morning, and there was one of these reporters that is basically reporting about the hospitality industry, and one of those guys that basically in charge of, I can't remember what his title is, and actually it was a woman, and then she said the traffic, that is the traffic flow, when I say traffic in terms of the booking, that people were within that short of hotel bookings, flight bookings to countries. So it was massive. So it would definitely have an impact. It would change the way people. I mean, people would definitely. People haven't gone for a holiday for a long. I in person, I wanted to go this year, actually last year, but obviously because of the chaos and everything, the trust and all of that, it's something that you postpone this year, or so you postpone. So it's an opportunity now to now look at it and say maybe yes, it's time to go for somewhere for your holiday.
Yeah, I
It's
know,
it's a it's a
sir.
it's a great news. But
That
you see,
is.
I know you. I'm actually quite worried, Kakra, because I know say they've also announced that the cases, it kind of so in that level where it's so rising, especially because
The weather is changing. We're
whether it's
getting
said we go
into.
more into winter now, the schools have opened. So if we don't cases rise, but the death rate or the hospitalization is still low now, then we are in our way to perhaps see
Yeah,
a
but somehow
normality.
known. So, the one good news is now they've extended the vaccine to the in Corona. So they've started.
But it's not well, anyway.
Mm,
Peninsula is not compulsory
yeah,
anyway. It's an option.
so
So, but
people have
but I
been.
get what you mean. Yeah, it might help the situation, but we'll see. You know, even if you double jab cry, it doesn't
It
mean say
doesn't
you are
stop you
100%
from
protection.
being
So
infected, but at least the impact.
yeah, it is.
Right, still in the UK before Tiva Koganity for Mumfanche because there's so much going on. Em said 2 weeks ago, unfortunately, to me, but last week to me, but a studio her. But one of the fundamental thing that happened here, because I mean, we knew within Komo at some point was petrol shortage,
Yeah.
due to Brexit and obviously a whole lot of things going on. And now meaning say come December, British government is issuing some kind of short-term visa so that kind of to me about so that people will have the things they need to spend for Christmas. Ain't say Obi Ewo, how is it? I don't know whether you are the right person. Is it easy to acquire that license, to be able to drive that kind of truck? Because I know a lot of people would like to take the
I'm
opportunity.
glad you said I'm not the right person on this, because I have absolutely no knowledge about that industry. I mean, we just bonzo hang hem so no no beti me amaye e bia so tie no be frey no ma ya be feel about that.
Because
But
it's yeah, this but no, how is the fuel situation?
oh, of course, I mean it's normalized now. Everyone, it was yes an issue of shortage as a result of driver shortages, and you've made reference to the Brexit as a factor. COVID was also a factor, and then panic buying sets in. And I think say the main cause of it is actually the panic buying, because if people were not even aware, said there were shortages now, it would probably, because I was visiting basically the petrol station. I shouldn't say this, but I'll say it anyway. Me running now, I say I can't have never son. I have an opportunity to see the say petrol baby, then I drive in, and which under normal circumstances I wouldn't have done. Now I don't do that anymore, because I could see clearly say bibia ewo. But it's a human thing. No one wants to be uncomfortable in a situation, and as we know, our life has been intertwined in a way with vehicular movement. And unfortunately, that is the reality. It's especially if you've been driving for a very long time. Hopping onto the bus is actually not at the forefront of your thinking.
And even more, especially if you've got kids.
Yes, absolutely. And it's not that it's a luxury, it's more of a necessity that you need to have these things, to make life much more, easier for you, with Inkwala and all of that. And apart from that, as I mentioned, when you used to, driving all the time, taking the bus becomes a challenge. I mean, you can readjust very quickly if you want to, but what I'm saying is that your life, we can't rely on it so much. Say, sometimes you think say without it you cannot actually even survive, but we actually would have survived, because the buses were still working.
Yeah.
I mean, they're probably going to be queues, but we will still be able to go to work and come back from where it's just some inconvenience that is just going to create.
I'm glad you mentioned but one story of mine was one day Binami Kwejuma. Then I was kind of just a little under half tank, and I miss you. On my way to work, there were at least where 3 fuel station be to me. I could be do or then I saw say I think it was a police van. It's all lady. Now I'm saying, okay, then I can go. Not knowing the same issue that they applied for as a essential workers. So I couldn't fill my tank. I couldn't get petrol, but at least people like NHS and the
Yeah,
police and those
yeah, yeah,
emergency
yeah.
services. No, yeah, more,
They were allowed
yeah, they were
to go
allowed,
in
but I
together.
wasn't. But that comes to the fact that I'm sure in Ghana, so many times you see petrol shorty and people were panicking. Never in my wildest imagination did I ever think that
Ghana's petrol shortage, is a totally different animal in the sense, and yet mainly as a
in the
result of some of the
price.
problems. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, sometimes it's the issue of supply. Yes, I'm sure it is, but it's the issue of finance as well, where sometimes maybe I bind the a forecast and on Timintia, and so it has all these economic complications with it. Yeah, then is much more, not an availability issue. Yes, there is an availability because it's still not in the forecast, but it's more to do with something that in a way politicians are now also again because of
Mm-hmm.
obviously voting out of the the EU, and therefore drivers who went back, and some that also went back because of the COVID hasn't actually returned back, and that's some of the cause of the reason. It's funny to note, and I said when they published that the government indicated said they're going to give about 5,000 visas, temporary visas for 3 months up to December.
Yeah.
Guess how many people took on that? Just take a wild guess. How many
Wow.
drivers from Europe actually
About
took?
2,000.
About 25.
Oh wow.
Well, if now it's increased, yeah, then it's probably increased to about another 5 to 30 or something like that. It was only a handful of people that actually. So that even tells you the government plan to get drivers from Europe, will probably even not even work, and that explains the reason why they decided to get the army involved, because they clearly knew said the applications now here, but any idea people are actually interested in whatever you're offering, because there is this tension obviously with Europe
Yeah.
and the United Kingdom.
Yeah.
And it's mainly because of the way we exited, the EU. The pain is still there. A lot of people who haven't still forgiven Brits. I remember listening to some of the interviews and some drivers, and you could clearly sense in the way they spoke and their response, and they said they actually will not come back, and it's mainly because they're upset about how they were treated. So supposedly with that, they said they're not going to help, and you could see and I'm sure. So I mean, there has also been some reports that even Europe is also having problems as well,
Yeah, they
with driver shortages as well. So it could be maybe an industry problem, which government needs to now think about
well, don't
how they
you
need to
think
get
that
people
I know
into.
we we're spending a lot of time about UK, but it's because a lot of Ghanaians are here, and whatever happens kind of affect Ghana indirectly as well, because Ghana forward. It isn't not that interesting. And now even with the COVID, it's more stable, and the kind of the scientific world, is more in control compared to how it used to be, But what's interesting at the moment is that this year, as you can see, even in the shops, crap, and nyoma enye better, sir. Enter yenya etifu be. Hello, caller. Hello, caller. Yem set online or elwo phone papa mente wonka. Inti Mr. Call me. Hello,
Hello.
caller.
Hello. What do you mean? What do you mean?
Mete one name me pacho kwaku ubetumi afre wo me line this so a ebeboa pa because we're struggling to hear you. Me pacho. It's here for sa ofre yen studio line on na unya afre 0796 1234 141 0796 1234 141 na ye be puno na ma na so what contribute also views towards the discussion. And like I was saying, and now if you go to the shops now,
Yeah.
the shops are empty. So obviously supply chain is blaming obviously the drivers in Ukraine, they blaming the government, But I know one particular friend is saying retailer, who blame me say a government, But meanwhile, that problem has been there for a very long time. If you go to the shelves are basically empty. I know there's COVID aspect, but at the moment, and I don't think UK as it stands, has come back to normal. Do you think that for how long in your own guess? I know you are not the expert. UK makes me about back to post COVID.
And the short answer is I don't know. I mean, you can only listen to what the people in that industry are saying, and it does suggest, from what I have also heard and read, say the temporary driver shortage with lorry drivers, HGV drivers, it is something that it will take a long time for it to be resolved, and this is mainly because the length of time that it takes to actually train the driver, let alone train the driver to drive a lorry, is not something that you saw here now. It takes a long time. So I think that because the plan wasn't there, maybe they had planned, but as whether the plan was actually implemented properly, because there was some kind of a gap between when we exited Britain exited the European Union, and they should have predicted the impact that it will have on the driving situation, and all those times that we were doing the negotiation, plans should have been enforced to train people, to go into the industry. Because I mean, I'm sure Kweku will probably give a little much more, in-depth
Yeah,
analysis
I'm
of how.
saying yeah, what line is my main Kwaku and so Kwaku, what's your main car? Yeah, I'm say online and when you're clear, but my name called mommy. Kwaku online no em say jinaye kakra mame. Me pacho mamente wonka later. Yeah. Sami manenko.
Yeah, so what I was saying is the that gap between when we exited the EU and when the negotiations was going on, that was an opportunity for the government, and I believe said maybe they might have done something, but it doesn't suggest to me says enough has been done or something has been done, because it's over 2 years since we voted to come out
Come out
of
EU.
EU. So we knew said this problem even if we don't know, someone will basically forecast the possibility of this happening. So what it means that you need to put some kind of a proper plan in place. And as I said, it's all about the recruitment in that industry. Because the shortages that they have in now is as a result of a lot of people have exited, they left. Even people, not only even the country, even people in the United Kingdom. And these are listening to this because there was a program that they did on that, and drivers called in complaining about some of the problems that they're facing as a driver, and people have basically lost interest as a result of some of the challenges. A lot of people have left. So a way of doing that, is to try to make things much more better and go back to the basis of how it was that you were having people in the industry and enjoying the work that they were doing. So if you don't do these things, if you haven't done that, then you basically invited this problem on your doorsteps. And it's very clear, say, the Boris Johnson government, haven't actually they did not plan. Even if they did plan, they probably didn't take it as serious that they should have taken it. Say, drew our point where I mean, they're going on now. What's here the narrative which is going now? They so insist and say obviously Brexit is a good thing that has happened to the country. They still insist and say it is also important. Say they are moving on into high wage economy, and what they're making reference to the high wage economy. Say when we were in
Brexit, and
pe-
where we
people were
EU paid.
undercutting British workers, and therefore obviously people lost interest in that, and they were not. So all of those things. So now with
But
the
don't you
assumption.
think it's all kind of political talk? Because at the moment there's so much
But
going on with
the economics is actually quite true if you think about it deeply. When there is a supply more than the demand of
demand.
it, you can undercut the wages. And when there is a shortage, when there is not enough skill available, you will have to pay more to get people in. So the economics of it, there is actually quite true. But the point is that you don't wait until the problems start before you start thinking about this.
You have to be proactive.
You have to be very, very proactive with that. And the planning of it should have been 2 years down the line. The moment we exited, no, people sitting in the White Hall and these finance guys, they can't say they never. There are people that are proper statistician forecasters that they know where we are at now. That this is definitely good. It will happen, or probability of this happening. So they have to some contingency plan in place. And unfortunately, the government, I don't think said they have been prepared. They were doing more of talking than the action, and it's very clear now.
But don't you think during the Brexit and obviously the COVID, it was a bit too much on at that time, every head of state, president, prime minister, or there's a lot on their plate. And if we can take country by country now, we can criticize. I know even if you go to Ghana, we can criticize the NADO about the governance and the things that he focused on. Because of COVID, see, there's kind of a shift
but
of
COVID is
focus.
actually not the reason. The COVID is just it happens as something that happens to everyone. It was the reason is mainly say we came out of Europe, and when you have come out of Europe, you have to plan for it.
Plan for
they
it.
keep going on about now they can tap into the whole world and control immigration and know who to bring in, get who they want and bring in. They did all that analysis, but you could clearly still see and these shortages is going to happen a lot. There was a list that was sent the other side. It's not only the driver shortages that they have a problem now.
Even
The hospitality industry is
big
suffering.
Yeah.
The agriculture is also suffering. The NHS, we know, from long time ago, it has been suffering, and also the problems are even in the teaching industry. Also, there are problems there now. So there is almost everywhere. The other time, Madam Fubi or Ghana Ebisami say obviously on about all the things that is happening in terms of the shortages, and he asked me about if I know of the list of areas now. And I obviously Google up the for example, the government.gov.uk platform. Obviously, there the Home Office is also exactly. And then I wasn't surprised though the list of shortages. I mean, where they're now giving visas, with an industry, is a long list, of areas that in the past they and it was a long list. Lab technicians, nursing obviously is one of them, medicine, doctors, and I remember there were IT specialists, IT consultants. There are some specific titles for that, but I can't remember what they are. Yeah. Then they were also looking for surveyors, people in the building industry. It was a long list, of shortages that they're trying to recruit into.
So if Ghana if we've got a skill set that you can help to build Ghana, between the Abua UK, this is a very good opportunity as we stand. Obviously, they need skill set. Government Gateway, www.gov.uk, you can see all the list of all the professionals are in here. Moving on to Ghana, I'll see this week. Remember ghost names. Yes, what is a ghost name? Obi to me, it's now for 1,000 years old or whatever. years na still are there on payroll na omu j salary go phobi e wechira sika no yeti omu ka pepepe mane ko bank pepepe but
Yeah.
has to work some way somehow so as nipa no 3 or 4 be echo nipa ba accounting. Now what controller and accountant general this week already about say obtain Ghana card of fixed salaries and controller insists on directives or say as part of the effect of permanently get rid of the ghost names on the government payroll, the Controller and Accountant General Department has insisted on the need for all government employees to obtain a Ghana card. And the story goes on. See, we cannot withdraw the directive asking public sector employee to acquire national identity card by December 1st, 2021 to all forfeit their salaries. There has been agitation by a section of the government workers and unions saying the department issued the directive on Tuesday, October 12th, 2021, with some asking the controller and accountant general to consider the directive and withdraw it completely or have a deadline extension. Mr. Dasso explained the Section 8(4) of the Public Financial Management Act 2016, Act 921, mandated the CAGD to, among other functions, receive disburse and provide secure custody of public funds. And the story carries on and carries on. So CCRD, CD, Ababe Tujano, by dating now, or the mind, let me go back. I see by December 1st, you know, say who obtaining Ghana card, yam say ukwa yenjia uka, untumi enko usika. Sa story, who ever happen? Do you think say in himself God's name has always been a problem? What's your way about what says that story about God's name? Is it a Ghana card now? As a kind of visa for you to get your pay.
Yeah, and you me tell a story. No, I think I also overheard, and I've tried so hard to remember who actually was a bit unhappy about the directive. No, I can't remember the name, but now you see this problem that we having with the ghost name. No, of course we know. Say every government that comes to power no, talks about it, and they try to do
Get rid of
something
it.
about it and try and
Try to
resolve
not get rid of it. Try
to
to
resolve the
control it or something
resolve
like
the
that.
issue. So there are a lot of interventions that has already been happening. You know, so many changes that they have actually made in government department, the civil service, in the public sector. A lot of changes and reintroduction of, you know, even the IT systems. A lot of things that were done to try and mitigate those circumstances that leads to these corrupt practices. And yet there has been some successes, but it's still a big problem, because every year after we get to know, says still the problem is still there. So when I heard said they're now trying to link the Ghana card, the Ghana ID card to payroll. And I remember when the idea behind bringing the ID card into place, of course, from different governments have spoke about it, the NDC throughout to the NPP, the NADO, and all of that. And the whole idea behind it is to try to digitize our economy and make it much easier to trace people, make it much easier for identification purposes. So there is quite a lot of work that has been done there, and a lot of investment that have gone through, even to the extent we went to the Supreme Court thinking about election, where the need to even have the ID system where all those things you will with me to the Ghana, you need a Ghana card and all, So you could see where we were going with that, the progress that was building up for it. And the whole idea is to make sure say you bet me I catch it, everyone's data, everyone's biometric, so that fraud becomes a thing of the past. And it is made by the
Hold on, mommy. Say yenya Bismarck yen repawo Ghana, and to be specific, Kumasi Angel FM no energy juma. And every week, as we all know, it's here for a report. And my dear Koso Ghana. Eti mema no Bismarck, what's here nka? Yeah. And na mo ho te say wo Ghana. Na where dey me who say light off be any power cut be akokɔ so where dey face calculate kokɔ no major ma na wan kasa wo dey abo etie for dey kɔ so e wo Ghana nti manenko
big house. I was Sunday and result took a separate. Who said, I need a Kanya dear, a probably. Now, I put any artist in sooner to the quasi type and sign a Kanya on the back. It's never did not open the same material. Simon at the end, but in short, I told Martin and said, hey, idea, I know a deep a year back. Now, I made twice so issues are Ghana. Idea, mother said. Okay, LGBTQ class 1 half for you now. Barco. And I only said and say, control a category of about one thing. And the issue I said, we are Benjuma. Now, one fat Ghana card. I'm for I entire one day. The free first December now. I said, let's see a there's a way about you and you, but that's your epan. Now, when we send and say now, 2 for 80, and we could then now you will be more ornament. And if I then bring a bow, matter is for ever thread a bow. Now, children suppose to so a bow. Now, when we said Sebastian and Marcia, I am in the retina. I church for you, give it a church for you. Now, you will be more or less not a process a bow. Now, over. Now, a woman, not the president, or war Ghana, Elena Kasai, or so as Asalia or Sanya, or Tiniano. It is a woman Casana, or Tiasia, said a wooded deadline as I come home. You must have come here this idea, open. Then we say, what did deadline come here? There, on Tias, don't know Yano, on Casan, the Demono, the Monia, president, or Washington, not president of Marcia. Ekasai, what do we are known? Ekasai, Ghana can now open a day banner. One, if you say, if I don't know to me, and send to me and count of Ghana Cardinal, and this will be a very good I said the Ghana Cardinal and San Khan, and I am or birthday, and I got your Emma. This is a great idea. There is a little accept of it. And that's what we really have about you said. Ghana Cardinal, or we have a deadline at home.
Na mami bisa Bismarck na homa mi o na sisia na omokasa na how easy is it for obi so obenya Ghana card ni bi nti so obi ye abandumani na sisia say by 1st of December yi when you bi nti sisia from now to 1st of December na how easy na obi betumi enya Ghana card ni bi na e free ana
Nana mami say to the owo ende ye no enye free sir. Then we will 30 Ghana cities. And I said 50 Ghana cities. We said Ghana card almost started on. We say you free. Now, on one thing I'm going to know. We say almost see hospitals. So sorry, almost see offices. I got the district to be on. They put them LA for the see office. Now, through maybe a commercial metro, KMR. And I know office no if you know say you see the one if you know para so the pana if you know assurance also if you know just say me and the better someone not go na and I office bia let us say you the go for go ma or we Ghana card who to as a project who the beginning before entrance here and so mu push agenda no Ghana, and you might afford it to move your Benjamin. You didn't hear 24 trans side in every brain. Because we don't know Kasa on Tia to whom we are Belgium in Ukraine Kasa. Almost Mukano, Montia, more Komukano, Omukano, we are almost to be Anka. Naipa or Kojino. The lawyer, I asked Sama, did you have Belgium phone, Ahima, Omina, Elsu, they didn't not know that Kasa and also no dear. Omuko Brina as a bank of Cardinal. It is a bear. More fighting than I found the room, Omuya to Musa. That's all I could say. Yana pulling the Duranano as a backup.
Miss Marco, you am set it's here for your straight Bismarck. You a chain or the diaka ever twice so. Something I think we were talking about yeah Ghana card yeah Bismarck am I a little bit detail about this year. Isn't that interesting said and prior to this topic we're talking about being proactive and with the Brexit said British government I'm prepared I'm sure some more forecasting the news fuel issue whatever now you share Ghana from Bismarck report or they might that means that ebi mu nsa nka omo de and the places now you can say ubetumi akwa district assembly na ebi no so if the deadline now you dey about for 1st of January do you think 1st of December pardon me do you think say government obeso chinchim Ghana for nsa na adwuma omaye no almost can only investment be na interest in by actually yeah e dey more na say it's just one of those rubbish and your man a or because the cost of Ghana.
Yeah, let me that's it. I mean, earlier on, I make about the fraudulent aspect of the way people have double names and being on the payroll twice and all of that, and therefore every government has tried to find a way. And when the Ghana card, the plan of the Ghana card was to make identification much easier, because it's going to be more of capturing your biometric, which is very difficult to duplicate. Not
So
impossible.
hold on, I'm saying Bismarck about because Ghana line yeah not careful to quiet one. Bismarck, but what you mean can? Manenko.
Not for I just teach you whom you have at the chef for which I don't know. And penny for say, oh dear, deadline now, put it up for the bike, the bank of moving through the throne or one sack empty camp or more a Ghana Kada or meeting the course I buy into Bukan. It's the best idea. And then a lack of fat and Topani, meeting Masi, a bit to me, as for it, or get you down a hasi. Now, me to us, wouldn't say,
Bismarck, Jana Homame, my son Abeko, no, be say be so question be see not for to be specific, no. Since your money or money must to from say I controller no any deadline and through a dear no monsieur mobile and answer mobile jar to move what as
we saw president, or catcher say, I really do one man or move over the woman go back.
okay.
I said, and I also obey the position with Marcia. I travel, I was in Canada, already. One that's
Okay.
it's no more, and also said, only the name of the beginning of the idea I always said. Ghana card is a 7 American, and be this Biana office Bia anything you hope. I didn't want to say, I don't know, but you Ghana card. You know, always have been before I did the Latona, or we are Ghana card in real. Or may I say, the office be brave. Send by ya, the baby to my home, acquire Ghana card now, over such a can. And I am the national team last week in you could say it's office. Say, Anna, I could by the end of 4 o'clock. I probably more a Ghana card, when they made family, they won't be until how we pass about my 42 or between Ghana card about deadline as well as that's what if you control hormones.
You, yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it.
I made to us anyway because I'm a baby, Obani, Bema is here, moon. About share money, Bema mention, I come so Ghana. I answer the now, who you walk on. comfort able to our home, master for so able to our home, say a telephone name, not so what you do, dear. Dia, and then soon comfortable, and I want you to say them on now. Almost about comfort be say, when you know what you say, say them are between the young Bema. Say them are between the young Bema and I talk about between the young Bema already. Say telephone now for this happened to me. This was common, and young Mugina. See the people, a car, a financial.
Hey.
That's also actually after the Libyan so long as I take to me, not 8 times I pop on so that count with the says a Louis, and I think you power than I am saying.
Yo, Bismarck, where you better say, pa, he better say, and tea, where your Kosua, which was a beautiful frog, 8 p.m. one son of program, baby, we are. That's a what boy now the Magana for because and some day a more Ankasankasa, Edasi.
And I miss with us.
Yo, Sammy, I think so you heard we all had Bismarck. And therefore, if you I'm sure you all had Bismarck, our rep in Ghana, Angel FM no energy man, obey to me after a line, the studio line is playing up a little bit. You can call us on 0796 1234 141. 0796 1234 141. And now also watch what we Sammy Manenko.
You're not being me about the biometric, the fact that it does capture everything and therefore making it difficult for the duplication of identity. And we all factor those things in and Ukraine are accepted for registration and voting and all that. So the card itself, we need to operationalize the card and make the card become useful because we cannot allow the card any Ghana card it doesn't do the job that it's meant to do. So when I hear that the government want to now streamline accounting and payroll and link it up to that, and I think it's a welcome news because at the end of it, we want to eliminate fraud or reduce fraud if we can, and Ghana card will be an effective way of making sure some of the problems that we had in the past, it doesn't happen. And it's mainly because won't mean you will be use card not twice. I mean, that is the idea behind it. I know there will be some loopholes around that. ABI, the fraud there. No matter how sophisticated the system is, you will still find people that will but it might be in a very, very minimal way. So I think I am with the council general. Or on this, or if for so to speak, the government on this. But the concerns that were also raised, are quite legitimate in nature, because if you will have to bring a deadline in terms of the way your payroll system works now, it means you cannot disadvantage someone on the basis Nipano has seek for the help and did not get the help. So the problem that the government is going to have, is availability issue. So if from judging from what Bismarck is saying in the report, and then from what Nat is also saying, there is some kind of a delay in the system where people are still not getting access to the card, even those that have done it now. Then
Sammy, and let me interject a bit.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting? Things like this now also beginning most free. This year from Bismarck's report, it's either 30 Ghana or 50 Ghana. You have to pay for it. Fanny say be a deadline na edema ubiano so 3 times no a na one fair enough. Then obviously you have to cough up that penalty money that you need to, which is fair. But isn't that the organization of it? Mefan says even teachers, Mefan says school, teacher 4 year. How come every organization, district by district, school by school, collectively? Now, Mefan say in Kofono, even if school they move to a district now and net LA primary school teachers in some way and then monamoko this week monamoko just so that it comes in bulk. In himself, school A is being captured, and I say a crow be never for maybe a job in district. school teachers all ya capture man as a buy my for ya capture say big jam individuals to go and do no is at the end needs to
But the funny thing with all this thing is, I mean, this we don't want a mass exercise of registering people on the Ghana card because we know the card is linked to registration. And therefore, what you don't want to do is having a situation where you open it up again and people will now go and want to get another card. I know you will gonna open it up in that sense. So this will be more very controlled in nature. I don't know what the plan is in terms of how they're going to implement this. But the thing is, everyone that they crime foul, they should have had a card by now. If there are lapses because card then you're ready, then I get that logic. But when you're card now, why haven't they done it? When it was open, no, it was open and everyone was being asked to go and do the card now. Everyone should do the card because this is a national effort to make sure we best streamline to make things work effectively for everyone. Because we can't continue operating the way we've been operating in the past. Because it's subject to all the fraud and the problems that we have with our accountant general. And something has to give. And what has to give is people need to go and make the effort, say, you are also helping what the government wants you to help, which is go and do the registration and get a card. I don't see what the problem is. I mean, if the problem is, say, availability is an issue, and therefore, there are some people saying that when they had the opportunity to do it, they still did not do it, and they have to do it. We need to take into consideration those people. But from now to December, unless there are no places that you can go and do it, from now to December,
I don't know. Unfortunately, not say it's my question. Yeah. I don't know how long it takes for time at Ube Kono for time Abinyano.
Card, it's just a day.
It's just one day, one day. No,
oh yes, but as whether card may ready when same with the end, I don't know how it works.
But that's what Bismarck is saying. Say if you want
which I clearly understand. Say those sort of things has to be addressed because of course we a card now say a postman and I say so collective with some kind of an identification to indicate say all those things. There are loopholes that they can it's something new government is doing. There are those cheating problems will happen. It needs to be resolved and all that. But meanwhile, I don't see where people are crying foul about. If it is about a matter of time, said they don't have enough time from now to December to do it big, mainly because then government needs to address those issues to make sure that availability is there, that place, the platform, maybe is there, then people can go and get this done.
Absolutely not interesting. It's because Bismarck, Kasano, Oka, capital city of Kumasi, Kumasi to be specific, Oka, Bantama, which are kind of a baby, and yet say Kumasi itself on the Esum. Now, Upo Bantama, Asuya, those areas now, a popular place. Panise Obiwo, some remote village be.
Yeah.
Sometimes we've seen videos. Baby on my campo, udu baby na what you bicycle and one and those people say Kumasi one on what city center no. I even having problem knowing where you can even go to get the CIA or the NIA for card, for you to go and get. How about those people in the remotes?
Yeah, but then these are all issues that they are procurements, administration. This doesn't affect it. It doesn't affect the policy in the sense of it. What I'm saying is, no matter where you are, baby, if government makes it available, it makes it available for you to be able to get it now. The problem that means is if ABR baby and you don't get a place now, then that's fine. But these are issues that government can address. So for government to move the deadline means they are not be able to address those issues by the December. Then yes, they have to move the deadline to accommodate everyone that is making the effort to get a card. But from now to December, and it's quite a long time. I'm hoping, when they obviously make this announcement, the plans were maybe well advanced to decentralize it because it's a district, assembly, district, metropolitan authority, MMC. That is their responsibility to ensure, within your municipal area, you will have a specific place that people can go and get this thing done. We've practiced decentralization for a very, very long time now. This is not a difficult thing to resolve because the structures that we need as a country, way from when Rawlings was in power, when we started all decentralization works in Ghana. It does work. So everything at that level, it might not be the best, but it does work where if you want to go through that line and you want to place people, it's just like the voting. When we voting, registering, it's through the decentralization system now, and people know where they need to go to get it. It doesn't matter what village you live in, you still have the chance to be able to do that. So I don't think it's a difficult thing, unless the NIA, FONA, maybe almost you're going to say they lack the capacity to have that nationwide, or I don't think they'll do nationwide. They might do district per district. I don't know, but I'm just thinking aloud. So maybe that's the way they will go ahead and do it. But it can be resolved if time goes on. You drew by Sabia, you are in the almost close to the deadline, and you clearly see still it's a problem in terms of the getting the card or getting the location for. Then the government will obviously have to step in, because you cannot deny someone when it is not their fault, so to speak, So, but for now, it's too early to, start crying foul and all of that. But this has to be done. And we can't continue the way we've been operating, for a long. And I see how this system works. Identification is very, very key to everything, because it makes it much more effective. It's to see, if I lose my bank card and I say my driver's license, if they want to locate me, they will locate me very, very easily. We need to be able to locate people, and it does help. For tax purposes, so bring more people into the tax. Because there are people that are evading and avoiding paying taxes, and this will be one of the ways that. The informal sector. I know. Look, everyone.
They're already paying tax.
Yeah, they do. But if there's problems in the system, it means that we're still lacking. Some or you should be deemed. I don't know. But I'm just looking at the point. I'm even looking more into the informal sector. Having this, even moving to the informal sector, where people need to go through payroll, through the identification system. So. Whatever you're paying in, we will know how much income you earn.
You mean the private. Of
course, that's what I mean. And how much you earn, and then whether you're entitled to pay tax or not entitled. Of course, we know there'll be thresholds. Some people doesn't earn a lot, you don't tax them. All these things can only be affected if you have a system where you can locate people and can identify people. And this Ghana card, I hope that is the main aim of the Ghana card, to bring a lot of people into the tax bracket and make sure there is enough revenue for government, for all the developmental projects. It might be said that is what we need, and we might not need a foreign, country to give us money when they're going to use that against us in the future.
It's here for our time check at the moment. It's 17 minutes past 6. You're listening to Wuzup Radio, #1 radio station in London. Awareness you made was to go so we'll see minutes some and this year, normally say you must soon be that's why every week in, week out, we bring you this project. And as you have program at the bro, and cement Kobe be me, Chamoka Kraven Pisca Abba, you'll hear from me very, very soon.
Casting Advisory is what you need. Are you looking for business solutions that will serve your needs? Look no further, because Casting Advisory is all you need. Casting Advisory is a unique advisory firm that provides specialized solutions in tax and business planning, audit and assurance services, company secretarial services, corporate advisory, corporate training, tax policy advisory, charity registration and accounting, gift aid for churches and charitable organizations. Our understanding and industry experience provides a cutting-edge software solution tailor-made for your firm. Locate Casting Advisory in the UK, Suite 4, the Generator Business Center, 95 Miles Road, Meacham, Surrey, CR4 3FH, or call us in the UK on 020-840-81520 or 078-867-15702 or email us at info@castongroup.com. And in Ghana, locate Casting Advisory Suite 5, the first floor of the Zerka Plaza, Tetegu Junction, Southeast Wager off the Kaswa Highway, or call 0249-700-075. Casting Advisory, the delivery of excellence redefined.
Casting Advisory is what you need.
Trinity Driving School, your number one driving school in the UK.
Did you know that they're equipped with professional driving instructors who will teach you to pass your test with ease?
So, if you want to pass your test, please look no further.
Contact Trinity Driving School on 07507 116997.
Trinity, safe and responsible driving.
Bema, assassin, a boy, one, and one.
Oh, this assassin, I saw Bohemians.
Assassin, Oberpatu. A nipper, a pato, that's a winning set. When you have what so better, Sawachi.
Mammy, would you be some monkey? We didn't come as a moment and married to Waka. You can't have a sister. Aha, Kwaku. Yeah, me just assassin assassin boss money fat Unity Link money transfer. Yeah, commercial bank okromo inside the can see here.
Unity Link money transfer be the best. Unity Link money transfer. Okwan power bit me money si can tem. Ama wado for Ghana for nyina. Then head office 158160 Balam High Road, SW12 9BN. Website www.unitylink.com. And as a fraying 020 877 22160.
Unity Link. What's the shoe?
You are welcome back, HT4 Sawuti, and make sure you don't move your dial. Here Wuzup Radio, your number one radio station, and now Wasukuswawuti. Jumedi, your friend, no awareness, and will be to me joining in the discussion on our Facebook page, and your Wuzup Radio. And now, if you go to YouTube, you can also watch us live both on YouTube and Facebook. And just before we left, we were talking about Ghana Card, and we're talking about the way some government employees are not too happy, especially the NAT and the NAGRAT set. The deadline, which is the 1st of December, say unsa anka you forfeit your salaries. It doesn't matter, say what your service for how many donkey years or whatever, and you have to get it. And all these accountant general way just to get rid of ghost names that we've all known. Say in the past, it's been in Ghana history. Say there's been ghost names and war Ghana. Every government has come in, they've done their part, and this is the time for them to move on to another level, which is using the Ghana card in Sewini here. And then obviously, just to give a summary of it in my own version, you have to get that, and you have to get it by the 1st of December, otherwise, Bronya idiot. Ono ere no mama, and as onu kunyem say in show grandpa, because I sort of know the Sika and Now back to the next story. Say your name was Sunny Bismarck, MIM, a bit which is going on at Ghana, a year anti-LGBT bill. Now it's interesting. So this week there's been so much on all this media, news house and all the media houses, and there's a lot of talk. There's a lot of demonstration both in Ghana and outside Ghana, as you can imagine. Now it's interesting. I'll say anti-LGBT bill. This bill is our vaccine and face mask to stop the spread of gayism and defamation. You can't say member of the Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee of Parliament, Roxanne Nelson and the former port says the urgent push of the passage of the anti-LGBT bill is to ensure that gayism does not spread in the society. He makes this statement on the news file on Saturday when the host Samson Lardy at Janini asked why such importance have been placed on the bill instead of the plethora of issues that exist in the country. According to him, although there are issues in the country, the activities of the LGBTQ community is a canker that must be dealt with. In addition to this, as a canker in the threat of the spread of the canker among our people, nobody can stop over speeding, but there needs to be a check over speeding, and so this bill is our speed ramp to stop our speeding. This bill is our vaccine and our face mask to stop the spread of the gayism. And it's very interesting. I just want to quickly read something that also popped up. So this story is from My Joy Online. And when another story, see embassies denied of visas over anti-LGBT bill amount to imperialism, a economist Eneka say. Also, economist Professor Charles Godfred Aqua has described as cultural imperialism the alleged denial of visas to politicians on the basis of their inclination towards the anti-LGBT bill. According to him, the development where diplomatic mission will hold citizens to ransom because of their support for the sad bill currently in Parliament does not sit well with him. After being a sovereign nation and having our independence, we cannot go to UK from Ghana and ask them to legalize polygamy. Why would somebody want to use all tactics to force it upon us? He's quizzed on Saturday. This argument came into a wake-up of the Member of Parliament for Tamale North Al-Hassan Suhayani, Suhini, who said he has been denied a visa by the Netherlands ambassador with the explanation that he will not return to Ghana. And I think that part of the story to me is the icing on the cake. But to even move to the actual icing, on which we will talk about, my main fans started LGBTQ. I know that there's been a lot of talks about it for some time now on social media, other countries, even before this program. A friend sent me a video about this lie. It was a YouTube video. I don't know whether you've seen it. Or interview. Is it this guy? I will send it to you. Then you look at it. And also, actress said, "This is our culture. This is how yet it and culture. Nature said traditional. Our traditional leaders, omu forming and values. Now, in values, nature said, say your bani or bar any of them no, any idea so. And from Bismarck's report and recount, or say, ebi mukrako bodria a conform here bodria. But we shouldn't forget. I understand all that. Now we live in a global world. Look at what is happening in the United Kingdom with Brexit. The Senate, CCR, is like everybody, some way, somehow, in quotation marks, against Britain. So, okay, someone's more better, more. Yeah, shamu, feed yourself, provide for yourself. And CCR with LGBT, who stories, because you're denying, yes, because money visa and money the land.
Yes, man, so yes. Nana, let me just say, this is a very sensitive topic and a very important one too. And I will come from the discussion on this, my submission in two directions. And I want you to listen to what I'm about to say in regards to the perspective that I've looked at. I've looked at all the discussion. Well, listen and looked actually, and the discussions around the topic, and sometimes when you sit back, you can see both parties. And when I say both parties, I'm talking about the pro and the anti. Everyone seems to have a very valid point in the debate. Well, in the so to speak, the debate and the decisions and things around the discussion around it. So it makes it quite complicated because any idea won't say there's a right or wrong way about dealing with this specific issue. There's one aspect that the member of parliament the fact that that he mentioned about he makes reference. It is a canker that needs to be eradicated. Some of the comments, um, are a bit borderline extremism, well, in extreme. Because I don't know whether now sometimes when you make these sort of assumptions or conclusions now, it has to be based on the specific data that you have, which suggests, because as a member of parliament, I expect them to have enough information about where they're getting that information from and the conclusion that they're drawing from that. And I'll tell you the reason why. When you make an assumption and it is based on your
own
own
imagination.
imagination, that can be taken on the face value if you're not a member of parliament. But as a member of parliament, the assumption is that when you make those statements, people will categorically believe say to be true because of the high position that you actually hold. What I haven't seen from all the debates is the data which suggests or supports the arguments I say it is on the increase. Because to say it's on the increase,
Have you listened to Sam George
I'll come
interview
and
with
the same thing goes to Sam George.
Okay.
There's a difference between what people's views are on the topic and as to whether the actual data to suggest that it is on ascendancy. They are two totally different arguments. Because in all the debates, I haven't seen that. If it is there that I haven't read it there, then I will apologize for that. But I haven't seen that because the problem we have in now, this is my view, is yes, it seems to be there is a problem in terms of the massive um, awareness of it. And I choose to use the word awareness because of social media, the globalization, and now seem to be in your face all the time, and you seem to be talking about it all the time. Or is it that is what is happening? Say it is always in our face now, and we're seeing it now. But in the past, it was there, but it wasn't seen.
As a blind point.
Exactly. So the point I'm making is when you make those conclusions and they say it is something you have to eradicate, you have to be based on there is a data which suggests it is actually on the increase. The gay community
But
in
not
Ghana.
what secondary school, say not superior.
But that's the point I'm making, Nana. The situation we're having now, when I was growing up, it was there already. So as to whether it's what how you see the word that he referred to as a canker, I don't know whether that is actually true, because you have to be based this on some specific data to suggest that. So were there data that were collected around those times to suggest how many people were gay or lesbian or whatever it is that their sexual orientation is? And has that data increased now? Do you get the point I'm making?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, it is very
to me holding a map
okay.
Some George on the the interview on CNN. It said me bought part be not the whole part, baby not on map how the ascendancy of HIV/AIDS in regards to where that I hope I'll be able to capture that. Right.
You have a right. You have a right to a fair
they're encouraged to do so, or are suicidal for that matter, or take their lives because they can't live in that society.
Well, Larry, let me answer your question. Earlier when I was telling you that this year alone, as of June this year alone, 21 persons have been attacked and killed in the United States, where LGBTQ rights are Ghana.
This is about Ghana, sir. So let's focus on Ghana.
Well, if this is about Ghana, then stop trying to import American values into the reasoning of Ghanaian.
I am not an American. I am an African. I'm from Kenya.
Well, Kenyan values are not the same as Ghanaian values. We have different values. I didn't say into Africa. I said into Ghanaian values. I'm a Ghanaian legislator. And just so you know, I represent a community or constituency that has two traditional areas. Before agreeing to push this bill, I met with my two traditional councils. I am a representative of the people who voted for me. The people who voted for me, the two traditional councils said to me, this is against our culture.
The people who voted for you, Honorable George, and I have to go, the people who voted for you, of all the problems they have in your constituency, is this a major issue for them? Is this the thing they're most concerned about?
Well, this is one of the major issues for them because the government of Ghana in
subsidizing the cost of antiretroviral drugs for persons who have HIV/AIDS. The Ghana AIDS Commission is telling us that men having sex with men, MSX, homosexuals, are leading the surge in HIV prevalence in Ghana. $200 million could have fixed the water problem in my constituency. Okay, we're going to have to leave it there.
So, and I may pet those specifics, no, but what Sam George was trying to tell live on CNN was the fact that he didn't give specific as to what that data now. Oka say, Nipa saying, and I will probably in 2000, Nipa by 2000 to 2010, Nipa saying I are into gayism or LGBTQ. No? But what he was, the data he gave was the amount of people who's been affected with HIV/AIDS and the amount of people who's been affected. But at the same time, he talked about the protection of the individuals. However, one thing he mentioned, Larry, from that interview, Nobusani said, are you there to protect? If it's a law, not so be go against the law. Now, how are you going to protect them? Because if you are, so what to Marana there, you have to be fearful. Even though they are protected or no, you have to be fearful.
Yeah, but I think he also qualified it. He said there is some part in the law which also makes it a criminal offense to attack someone who for their sexual orientation.
Yeah.
So but I'll come to the details of that. But another point I'm making earlier on here about the data, it is very important. Loose talks like that. It doesn't really enrich the debate, in my view. You need to be based most of your discussions, and I'm speaking about the member of parliament when they make those sort of reference. But just to touch on that Sam George saying, I think he did very well with that interview. I've listened to him on other conversations about this specific topic, and a lot of times he's been very off about the way he kind of bases his argument on. But this specific one, there are a lot of things that he said, and I'll come to those aspects. There are a lot of things that he said which is also very important. That's why this says there are both wins, or sorry, both good points on both sides of the argument. But now let's ask ourselves. I'm a Ghanaian. I just like every other Ghanaian, and I believe in Ghanaian values, the culture that we have, and how we basically want our culture to remain, because the identity of every race or every nation is based on what your culture is. So it is very, very essential. But there's also some elements of that which we will also have to realize about the issue when we mention our culture, the culture of making sure you love your neighbor, and all those things are part of the way that our culture is. And how you treat people, and then all is part of the way we were brought up, looking after each other all the time. So there is a mixed things there. When someone is in the wrong, there is a way to deal with that, when people are in the wrong. But this is my take on this. When I read some few parts of the bill, and some portions of it, which I took those portions, from presentation that was I think it was done at the United Nations. I'm trying to remember. It was a policy document that I chanced on, and I think it was through the Swiss president, or I mean, basically, I'm trying to get exactly where. But in that report, that was said, because they were reporting about the situation in Ghana, because obviously it's now an international issue, and a lot of countries have taken issues with how the legislation is. But I'll read some few portions of what the legislation seeks to achieve. And I see the object of the legislation of the bill is to prescribe LGBTQ plus and related activities on the claim that these are incompatible with the social cultural values of any ethnic group in Ghana. Any ethnic group in Ghana. And this is the report that they basically wrote about what they saw about if adopted, the draft legislation would apply to a series of persons based on their sexual orientation, real, perceived, or questioned their gender identity, their sex characteristics, or their support to the rights of LGBT persons. This population and the population of those that will be affected is then while they listed it here. So who holds out as a lesbian, a gay, a bisexual, a pansexual, I don't know what that is, but is there, or a person of any other sociocultural notion of sexual relation that is contrary to the sociocultural notions of the relation of the country and the relationship between male and female. Then the B say who holds out a transgender or transsexual or a person of any other sociocultural notion that is contrary to the sociocultural notions of male or female, who holds a biological anomaly, okay, including a person who is intersex, and these are involved in the promotion. So the usha C and D now, who holds a biological anomaly. So obi a year no sir. Well, yeah. So I'm looking at someone with both sexes. And when you have both sexes, your problem is hermaphrodite.
Yeah, hermaphrodite.
Hermaphrodite. So the difficulty of you deciding on what your sex will be something that perhaps it might and I'll read the D say involved in the promotion of propagation of advocacy for support of or finding of LGBTQ. Then CE, who provides or participates in the provision of surgical services to enable gender reassignment or the creation of a sexual category other than the category of a person assigned at birth, except where the surgical procedure is to correct a biological anomaly, including intersex, or who engages in sexual activity prohibited under the act. Anyway, maybe the rest. But basically, the reason why I read this part, is some aspect of if from what the report says, and that's what the bill seeks to basically what it means, say. And that is why for me, I think it is worth debating this and thinking about, do we want to go to the point where we are going to criminalize things of a biological nature? And
hold on.
Yeah.
Are we? I'm saying your caller be online. So hello caller. Hello caller. Caller no yem say yenya papa. Me pacho frame wo 0796 1234 141 0796 1234 141. Namenyo so me pacho me the number need to get him 0796 1234 141. Thank you. Tammy.
Yeah.
Sana wokano obi on magana. I remember so na we be said kojo besia.
Yeah.
That is obi a ya wona naturally no ebia or your bema, but right from the beginning yes obi na echere no, but so no ye ne nyoma nyina say oba and or the other way. That kind of and I think say in that intervention, it's kind of hormone therapy now to correct it.
Yeah.
Does it falls under the bill? And
well, the bill says that government will make provision for those sort of surgeries are normally to reassign people back into where they should be. So it's so
and where they should be, where.
But that is the thing. You see, in America say. But I understand what is going on because usually it's just a bill. It's not a law as it speaks. And bill will go through the committee stage and things will be ironized. Some things will be taken out. It will be streamlined. It will be polished. And maybe it will come out and everyone will accept that this will be perhaps okay. But as it stands, from the way it is now, you will end up criminalizing things which you shouldn't be criminalizing. And some of the things that I did mention, if someone is born a hermaphrodite, and they have both sexes, but their appearance suggests that they look more feminine in nature, but they actually have more estrogen in them to make them more manly.
Testosterone.
Testosterone, I should say, in them to make them more manly than the appearance suggests. It's a biological thing. They were born this way. You will criminalize that person, take that person to the prison when it is not it's a cause of a nature for them rather than they choosing what their basic sexual orientation is.
Yo, say yenya ofrefo bi e wa homa ne so ma memfa na ye yenko. Hello caller. Good evening. Me ba cho hwana na okase free. Nyame adom ye te wo nka che papa. Ai. Ai, ti manenko. Nyame adom obi a ho ye pa. Obi a ho ye. Yes, I.
Why are we here? They were happy because of the president or the Sweden. Are we ready? That we push a Ghana, push a push like that. Nigga, are you ready to win? Just show the 5%. It's really all the color of my happened. The moment you have no container, and you're ready to see a bit of we need to run a more president. So that's so what I will ask the dealer platform. Let's check out the kind of Ghana. Don't put the dealer platform to not cut it. How to happen. Yes, sir.
Constitution ni state na minim se na wutia de na same kan no so bi onzo e wona se bi kojo besia ana se
Jack, Wuzup Radio.
yo LGBT sound Na so mo nyina mo yɛ Ghana fo ana. Sɛ obi yɛ gay a ɔyɛ Ghana ni. Yo, Sabato. Yo, Saba. Yeah, that's the part. Until next week, yeah, as you said, no prepare, no bra. Yeah, try. Okay, yeah, that's it. Tell me, Mammy Grouse. This year, no, grandma, like Sabato said, or say, Ubiambra out.
Yeah, so
4-7.
yeah, my main view on the American area. So the point, is quite a simple one. The bill will have to be looked into, but it's a bill and I'm sure say there will be at a point where we will have to think deeply into the consequences of it, because sometimes you have good intention of something, but it leads into making things actually worse than the problem that you're trying to resolve. And I can see, if from what I'm reading is how it's going to be, then it criminalizes someone who is born, and for me, I think that will not be right. If someone is born biologically with a biological, yeah, exactly, and you say if you feel such sexual orientation, then you will go to prison. That cannot be a right. That cannot be under the framers of the Constitution, when they spoke about freedom and justice and the right for people to choose. I don't think that is what the framers of the Constitution were aiming. So we have to look at it properly, that it doesn't criminalize that. For me, that is very fundamental. But Anna, you see, putting that aside, you did read about these foreign embassies that they denied Suhuni visa, claiming well, no, that's the reason they gave for the refusal of the visa.
No, from the reason, they said when you go, he wouldn't come back.
Yes, but that's what I'm saying. So that's the reason why they refused his visa entry to the Netherlands, I think, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah,
Netherlands. And of course we know that Suhuni has been one of those parliamentarians that were championing the bill that is in Parliament. And this is where I start having my disgust about some of these things, because once from the beginning I did speak about cultural values, and people are totally different. Africans have a very different cultural
compared to the West.
To the West. Of course, we have fundamental commonalities between us as humans, which is very common in every country. But there's differentiation in the thinking and the way people behave based on where they normally live is very, very overt in nature. So therefore, sometimes, when you do things, you will have to be thinking about that. The problem I have with some of these Western powers, and the way they try to push things and ideological things on Africa, as an example, in Ghana, my country, is I find it very disgusting, because I can't see, unless the reason that the member of parliament I can't see what the issue is, apart from the fact that he is actually portray the bill into Parliament, and the West obviously doesn't like
But
the bill.
in the refusal, no, all they said was because.
But they're not gonna say that,
yeah.
Nana. They won't
So
say.
that is his
Yeah, but that's what I'm
assumed.
saying. No. But Nana, he's a member of Parliament. When you say he's a member of Parliament, or core on baby now, what are you trying to suggest? A sitting member of Parliament, is he going to seek asylum? He's not seeking asylum. A member of Parliament who is going for just a holiday and coming back now, who's Usha or on back. It's very disrespectful to the country. Because they have to give us some kind of, and this, some of the things that they do, this emboldens, championing of some of these, extreme, in my view, ways of looking at some of the bill which is in
Can I
Parliament.
interject?
And yeah,
a little bit.
Yeah.
Because you're talking. I'm looking at global world at the moment. Remember when we joined the EU before post-Brexit, right? EU, now there was something we called working time directive, now EU law. When at the moment Britain echo joined here, and I remember said that law came to enforce, say we didn't have to have a 12-hour gap or whatever. Before, people were not strict to that. Don't you think? You said because now the world is becoming smaller and smaller and smaller, and we all kind of live in each other's pocket in a way.
I don't get
This
it.
is just me being controversial here.
In what sense?
Because Papa, no, in the world, even if I refuse to visa now, this is somebody they understand that is your culture. Culture and it's a money just annual money. So, but globally, you are somebody championing it, but in the West, this is something we hold so dearly.
Oh yeah, I mean the West can defend on their way they want to defend, and they can speak about their disagreements with that. Those things they are allowed to do that. Everyone. I'm sitting on the radio now. I'm looking at the way the bill is, and I can see some things in there that I think I have that free will or freedom to see the way, and the West also has that. But when it comes, because as a result of that, they use policies and economic, it's very much going back to the colonial practices of making sure, say, you do what we say you should do. And we've moved on from that. They have to allow Africa, Ghana specifically, to, I mean, they told us that we have to practice democracy. And if we're going by what democracy actually suggests, say we should, democracy is about the will of the people. And if there is a poll which has been done by CDD, we suggest that about 95% of Ghanaians do not want this, and they want their bill now. How dare you? Would you say you are to stop a member of parliament? Member of parliament is only implementing what the will of the people is. It's not like
it's a personalized one.
And this is the problem I have with some of the West, because the way they try to influence things, the way we do our things, it's totally, they come in a very, very wrongly. If it's about advocacy and you want to make sure you're advocating for what you believe, as the West believes it should be now, there are so many channels of doing that. That member of parliament can come into that country. You can challenge him through conversation, through debate, and invite him. Have a conversation. That is what they taught us what we should do in democracy. So when they start using these Takashi methods to try to impose things on people's cultural values, it's totally wrong. They're getting the whole thing wrong. And if I am the West now, and you want this thing to actually go your way, now this is not a tactic to adopt, because you're going to antagonize even more people with economic sanction. You want to sanction people based on what their belief systems are, or what they believe. You cannot say better than people that live in their own community and how they see their own community, how they want to run their community. It is totally uncalled for. I'm hoping, and I say, because I can see where this thing is going to go. I'm being Modi, I want this bill to be looked at properly, so that, because that criminalization, that criminalization of a biological need or whatever, even people have their own sexual orientation. I have my thoughts are telling me it is an area where I don't think anyone should be criminalized for feeling the way they're feeling, But I don't want the West to come and impose what they seem to be. They're trying to tell me what their values are into a society that has their own value. Because sometimes, this is what they end up doing. Then you antagonize a lot of people and you create chaos in the system rather than helping the situation. So they need to back off and allow the system to work. Because look, Ghana is a healthy democracy now. There are people that are speaking against the law. People in Ghana, it's not like they're hiding themselves, they're speaking out against Akutuampo has spoken about it. It's not because he is pro or but he basically looks at the letter of the law, of the what the bills will do. And he's speaking out. A lot of people are speaking out. So why do you want to now use some other Takashi methods to try and force people's hands into behaving the way you want them to behave? It's totally wrong and very uncalled for.
What do you want? Let's see what the traditional council part of it, or myself, say a powerful traditional priest who resides in Kona in the Ashanti region, Comfoya, the red and white powers, has called press conference to slaughter sheep and invoke curses on MPP government if they accept the practice of homosexuality in Ghana. Wearing red and armed band to symbolize his fury, Comfoya, the red and white powers, slaughtered a sheep in the river and rain curses on the party leading for keeping mute on the homosexuality, which symbolizes the possibility of acceptance in the near future. Now, me perceive me what kakra bi ma etie for ensunti. So as you can see, it's very interesting. You know, Ghanaians are very passionate, and we recognize our traditional leaders. Say Christianity, dear, because said about for you, and the traditional leaders, we hold them very dear. And now, conform our Babon, one day was so about this out in
I mean, the debate will have to continue. We have to do it in a very civilized way that we don't end up. It's very, very important. The passion of this is understandable, but people need to be educated very well about what the bills wish to want to do, what the law will do if it is passed the way it is. I am hopeful, say, the education around it will be much more clearer, and what the bill is there to do will also be clearer for people to have understanding for, because criminalizing sexual orientation, for me, I think it's a step too far on based on someone's biology. It's a step too far, and you will have to consider a better way of dealing with this sort of problem. If you ask me what is the way out of that, I don't know, because you have to respect the culture of the country. You can't overlook that and say here, because it does clearly say Ghanaians, this is the way Ghanaians, this is how they want it. But it will take time, maybe, and it takes time around conversation, having discussion about this thing, and as it stands here, and finding a way around it that maybe not everyone is going to be happy, but maybe majority of people, it takes a lot of time to do that. And I think the more we talk about it, I know people don't want to talk about it, because it's easy not to, say, but we know this is not something that it started only yesterday.
It's always been. It's always been. We never talked about it.
It's always been. It's been there. When I grew up, knowing
even the big men in Ghana,
it's always been there. But it just looks that social media has hyped it a little bit. Media, the traditional media has also made it much more a conversation that is being held on run breakfast tables and lunch tables now, and I don't know. We will see how this goes, but I don't know. We will see.
This year, senior. So we need to talk about it, whether we like it or not. The only way we can get solution to this kind of problem as a country, we need to all come together, rally, sit around coffee table, breakfast table, dinner, or whatever, and try to start having conversation about these kind of issues. Ain't senior Dayokoso ya ni pitri ansana medibeba mema sami your last words ansana ye and they discussing what's your last word to it for.
Oh, what's even my last word? I'm for last word. Yeah, and
what about last word? So we talked about gazing. Then we started off.
Why is it called gazing?
Supi.
Yeah. Look, at the end of it, Ghanaians will decide on what they want, and Ghanaians has to decide on the way they want this bill to go. And the debate around it, the right place is where it is, in Parliament. Parliamentarians represent the views of people. If they get it right, people vote them in or vote them out. So the bill will be with the committee now. They will deliberate on it, go to first reading, second reading. I'm sure there will be changes, there will be amendments, there will be things that will be removed. They might probably decide not to have 10 years, they might maybe reduce it, There will be a whole lot that will be done, and when it comes out now, hopefully, all parties will be happy. I hope.
It's here for a Sisana. So yani pitri out time check at the moment is 7:06. Ain't see higher did you media no na ABC. I would like to extend my special thanks to our callers. Boss na baby our namno na honye. A little bit of information about what's going on in the United Kingdom, especially regarding to the petroleum and as a fuel issue. In reference to Brexit, Sabato also offer a chair waje only a tier 4. Also so tuning in because of week in week out the to me jumedi it is a one team in Kabi Mamidian and Anahin ma that's the net obetimin Kabi.